Yeah, it's been fun. You know, we kind of learn more every day about all the fun things that companies are trying to track that drive business value for them. So we're pretty excited about the story. Let me start here by telling you, first of all, what we do. So companies today are spending a lot of money trying to figure out how to drive efficiencies. What TrackX is providing is an enterprise software platform to manage all the physical assets that are typically tied to these critical operational processes. The companies have never tracked, as Keith had stated. And how companies want to utilize this data is to be able to drive operational efficiencies and better feed their SAP, their Oracle, their Manhattan and Red Prairie back-end operational systems. You know, a lot of the driving catalysts for expansion today within this asset tracking space across these enterprises is driven because of the top three priorities for companies being digital transformation, big data initiatives, and the Internet of Things, which we all know is gaining all kinds of hype and all kinds of investment. Within the industrial Internet of Things, companies will spend $500 billion in spending by 2020. 50 billion devices will be added to their Internet, and those devices will include manufacturing sensors and pallets and other assets that we'll talk about here in a second. A lot of value, a lot of requirements to drive these processes. The reason this technology is becoming available today, you know, we've heard about RFID and GPS and sensor technologies for many years. But over the years, what's happened is the price, like it does with every piece of hardware, is approaching zero cost. Capabilities now around sensor technologies for temperature, light, humidity, biological pressure, wireless tire pressure in trucks and trailers. All these things are taking that same investment and allowing us to capture a lot more data around these assets. That generates more value. What's been missing is a platform available at an enterprise level to help drive the data feeds from all these disparate devices, feed it into a cloud-based platform where it can be aggregated, take that massive amount of data, turn it into meaningful information, and utilize it to drive workflow efficiencies and better event management, better alert notification for these companies. So we're doing some interesting things here. The market around asset management alone is about $25 billion in the next few years. Just for asset management, RFID within retail alone will be $14 billion. The numbers become staggering, and every industry has an opportunity to apply this technology. Why? Not only are these assets not being tracked, as Keith mentioned, but the processes that they're tracking them with are all manual. Pepsi's doing work with two-way radios and clipboards trying to manage fleets of trailers across 300 facilities in North America throughout their brands. So it's a big problem, right? They have all this money going into SAP, all this money going into carrier relationships, but from the time product leaves the dock to the time it gets on the road, they have no visibility. They don't know whether pop cans are freezing in the yard, whether or not they have enough empty trailers to move their product. All this can be automated, and that's what TrackX does. We also track a wide variety of assets around other industries. You know, I got to tell you, we're not doing a lot in oil and gas and mining today, but by the time I leave this afternoon with this panel, I hope to be. So we'll be talking. We are doing work in linens and towels, horticultural racks, agricultural bins. The brewery industry, I'll give an example of that I find really interesting. Laptops for the United States Patent and Trade Office, Juniper Networks tracking lab equipment, trucks and trailers for major food and beverage brands. Tyson Foods is tracking all their product out of their docks using a yard management solution where we actually track temperature on these trucks so they can achieve their product protection initiatives, all part of this, these top three initiatives in information technology. We focus on industrial, returnable, and high-valued assets. Industrial assets could be vending machines for Pepsi going through repair and refurbishment process. Returnable assets, beer kegs, pallets, dairy containers, cheese containers, automotive bins. All these companies are talking to us. Towels and linens. Disney, we came back from Disney a couple weeks ago. Disney's got 65 million assets they want to track. Mostly costumes and uniforms within their theme parks. Theme parks include cruise ships. Big opportunity. The revenue model is pretty straightforward. We're delivering solutions within TrackX. So to deliver a solution, hardware is a necessary component of that. services to implement that infrastructure, and software. We generate, on average, $80,000 per location in hardware, $50,000 on average for services to implement that hardware and service the customer, and about $45,000, $50,000 a year in software that's recurring. We bill the company monthly for that recurring software. The contracts are typically 3 to 5 years, but once we terminate that contract, the opportunity to extend it is huge. Not only is the opportunity for that contract huge, but if you think about the number of assets that these enterprises are managing, once we penetrate that account, it's like going bowling and hitting the head pin. If we do the first location or two correctly, all the rest come. We track more assets, we track more workflows, we track more locations. And that's where we're going as a company. So we have very low churn rate of customers, very low support costs of customers, and strong customer retention. A lot of opportunities for expansion just within our current network. So what has that meant to us? We'll talk about our cap structure. We went public in May. We completed an RTO in May of 2016. We started scaling some of our revenue and some of our team to support a backlog of opportunities within some of these large enterprise accounts. Our revenue growth, we just announced our numbers, I guess, it's been a long week, Monday, and you can see our number for December 2016, which is Q1 fiscal year for us, by the way. December 2016, our fiscal year end is September 30th. We had as much revenue in first quarter 2017 as all of last year. And it's because customers are now getting implemented. They're seeing value and continuing to expand their opportunities within their TrackX relationship. A good example, to Keith's point, is automotive. We're doing an increasing amount of work in automotive. This represents an example of an opportunity with the Forbes top 5 most promising and most innovative company in the automotive space in the United States. It's there. These folks will process and sell online. It's a used car online retailer. They'll sell more than 250,000 cars this year online. They have 22 facilities where they're trying to find cars. They can't find cars. They can't find cars. They can't accessorize these cars fast enough to get them to their consumer. So they engage with TrackX to, first of all, just find the cars. Track the cars in their 22 locations. That was phase one. It's $2.6 million in revenue for us just to track the cars in those 22 locations. Phase two is to manage those cars through their accessory process, where they do a mechanical check and a brake check. They do interior detailing. They put it through a 360-degree media center where they take pictures and video so they can publish that to the website and provide you, the consumer, an opportunity to get the best car for that money of that make, model, year. That's another $2 million in revenue for us. We just completed phase one. We're now embarking on phase two. Phase three is to track those vehicles through North America's first fully automated car dispensing machine. They have 7 of these. They'll continue to double across the board in number of locations. They'll grow to 40 locations. They'll grow to 14 vending machines. They'll grow to about 6 inspection centers. And all of that revenue will also be managed, all that opportunity will be managed on the TrackX platform. So hopefully, and just in this example, you can see that while they may have had 6 or 7 systems managing their business before, where we're going is TrackX is not only their asset tracking provider, we're their ERP platform. We're managing all their data and aggregating it and driving all of the processes within their enterprise. Our go-to-market strategy is to continue to expand through partners. Huge opportunities in not just automotive. I mean, we're looking at everything from, honestly, from pot plants. Right now we have opportunities in the U.S. to porta potties. And I think that was a funny thing at dinner last night. We were talking about the several 100,000 porta potties owned by one company. Problem being that these folks can't find these porta potties. They drop several hundred off at the Pepsi Center for an event, and they're worth between $800 and $2,000 each, so they get stolen. And I said, well, how do you find these things? He says, we don't. It's a cost of doing business. And then I went over to saw the guy, and I said, how do you fill orders? You have no idea what you have. He says, well, you see that scissor lift over here? I get on that scissor lift, and I go up above my porta potties, and I look down, I count the ones that I think I can use, and that's what I ship to my customers. That's the way they do their business. So I appreciate the time today. Look, I think real quick, I just want to tell you that what we are, we wanted to talk about real quick is a cap structure. I'm around today. I'd very much like to talk about the fact that we did go public. Our stock, 62 million shares outstanding. We're trading at about 54 cents a share. Good volume and an exciting future. So I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.